So today the topic is we have already discussed about the two business rules, which is a before and after. So today what we will discuss about. So the first one is a async business rule display. So there are two business rules which will be used to. There are two business rules we already had a discussion, and today there is a one more business rule we will discuss. That business name is rule was async business rule and display business rule. Async business rule is used to get the database actions. If you already perform some action at the time, you will use the async business rule for the same. So now what we will do it is the async business rule is used to after the database action so it's done, it will be the same thing for it. Now what we have to do it is, so that means once the record is updated or inserted after the certain amount of time, you need to execute the, so after a certain amount of time you need to execute some script, so that you need to perform some action something at that time. What we will give is we will use the async business rule. That means if you want to perform some action, it will be the async business rule we can use for the same thing here. Now the thing was what we have to do it is today we will see how the async business will see and other stuff will be executed for the same thing. Now see what we have to do it is, so now what we are doing is what we can say, so I'm just going to work order. Now the scenario is work order. We have already done. So if I open this email, this one, there is a field called needs email and need to send email. This is a checkbox. If you mark as a true and had it, now what we have to do it is, uh, whenever whenever if you have something, whatever, whenever if you already added something, so you have to do for the something. That means whenever the record is saved it, you need to send a request, you need to, once it record is done, you need to do for the same thing. That means this automatically has to one. So for this, if you want to, we can achieve from the after business rule, but after business rule will be used to only once the record is updated insert and the next minute. But after certain amount of time we need to execute the same thing, so that what we will do it is we will use the async business rule. A simple async business rule is used to get the, after certain amount of time you need to end the add the data, after certain amount of time you need to load it, so you will use the async business rule. So I hope you understand what is the async business rule definition. Very good. Now, today we can see if you want to write, we have already seen it, but again I'm saying, if you want to see it, right click, configure, go to the business rules. And one more thing, these business rules also will stored in a table called sys underscore script. As we discussed earlier, in the service now, whatever we have done, it will be automatically executed, it will be automatically saved in a tabular format. So that is the one we will discuss now. What we have to do it is, so now what we have to do it is, whatever we are seeing right now, so we can check the same thing. So here we have already added email marking, so we have already seen the script, so I'm just explaining the same. Now, see, this is the one marking, and we know, right, when you click on advanced, then only the script will be executed for the same thing here. That means if you give advanced, then only we can option to write it. And here, when to run. So whenever if you're writing a business rule, you should know when to run, what to execute. That means when to run is nothing but what was the condition we used to have the same thing for it. So that is a thing we can write it now. Now the thing was this is the one, and now actions. What is the action? So I've just given when the state is closed, we used to have the same thing and record insert updated. We have to execute the same. And SA, if you have to make any actions, you can do it. Right now, I'm not giving. And advanced. In that advanced, what we have written here is gs dot sleep. Gs dot sleep is used to the function. If you want to stop the action, wait for some timer timing. So we use the gs dot sleep for it. That is the one thing we can do it. And now after that, current dot u underscore need to send email equal to false. By this one, what happened? The function which was used to here, it was the what we can say, the function which was used to, you can see the function which was used to get the same thing here. The current dot u underscore need to send email equal to false. That means it will went to the false condition. And now what we have to do it is current dot update. Current dot update is used to update the record. So here what happened, it has been updated. So now the form will be go to the next step. So this is the thing how we will execute the same thing here. Now the next step is, now the next step is here. What we have to do it is, the next step is what we have to do it is, we can write a script for it and let's see how it will execute the same. Now this is the one. Now here we are done. Just go to the work order. Now we have do for the same thing here. Now if I open this one, the record 101 sorry 1013, and if I mark as a true and state equal to closed, and I am saving this one and wait for 60 seconds, then automatically this need to send email will go to the false condition. Why? Because we have made a false after the 60 days, sorry, after the 60 seconds. If you want to make hours, you can convert hours into the seconds and you can do for the same thing for it. So you can wait. So let's wait for a few more seconds. See, this has been automatically changed by using the this one. I hope you clear what is the async business rule. The most common asked entry question for is what is the difference between async business rule and the after business rule. After business rule will be executed immediately once the record is inserted or updated. But here what happened is the thing async business rule. Async business rule is used to where after a certain amount of time you need to execute. It will be the same thing for it. That is a one thing we can go for the Same here. No, after business rule will not execute. If you want to do certain amount of time, so mostly the best practice is you used to, because what is the purpose of the business rule? So after business rule, once the record is inserted or updated, the rule has to execute. That is the after business rule, the purpose. But here what happened is the thing is nothing but here, so after certain amount of time you need to execute, right? So at the time the best practice is you have to go for the one. Of course it will execute, but we cannot use it. There may be chance to other things will be affect on the same thing here. So always try to do for the same thing here. Okay, this is the basic thing. And now the next step here is what we have to do it is, what happened now the thing. So how this is fine. Now what we have to do, so again we can write a what is the business rule one in one more business rule, that is a display business rule. Display business rule is a business rule which is used to display the server side data in the client side. So you know, right, there is a two types of scripting will execute, the server side and the client side. And now how it will execute the sim was, uh, now how we will execute the same thing. So that means if you want to display, now the scenario is once this user is filled it and the clients are on this is loaded, when the screen is loaded, we want to display this email ID and the phone number. So let's see how you can execute the same thing. So if I'm just making as a duplicate and right click and configure and go to the business tools and email to display. I'm just making user details display. Display, if you see, if you display there is no operator, right? Like what I can say, if there is no display, there is no operator, right? Yes, no, sorry, insert, update, those are also will not available, right? That's the reason we this will not be available for the same thing here. Now the thing was what we can do it is, uh, now the thing was what we can do it is, whatever if you using something, here now what we have to write it, we can write a same thing and we can check this one, this display how this one executes. So here in the service now what we have to do it is, we can go to advanced. So here I first what happened, we need to fetch the what are the user value has given, so that we need to fetch for the same thing here. So if you want to fetch it, so what we can do it is, so there is a variable called g underscore scratch pad. You know, right, earlier we used to get the uh, what you called g underscore cratchpad scratch pad dot email. So I'm just defining a variable directly, scratchpad equal to current dot new underscore email. Or let me, I don't know. So let's see user email, right? So current dot what is this user ID? Current dot user ID and this one. And next one there is a phone number g underscore scrat phone equal to. So I'm defining one more phone equal to. So current dot user email ID. So now what happened? What are these here? So what are here? So what is the phone number which was here? it will automatically copy it from to the this g underscore scratchpad variable. So this is the display thing, and now how we will execute the same thing here. So now what happened, I'm just going to saving this one. Now I need to call this one from a client side. That means what are the server side we have written? That value we need to pass it from the server side to client side. At the time, what we will do is we will define a global variables, and from that we can do for the same thing here. Now let's see. So again, I'm just opening again this one and duplicate, and I'm just going to the client script. So in the client script, I'm just writing a one. So see, we have already downloaded one. So I'm just downloading a file. Okay, we are in global application. I will open it. So whenever if you are writing, this application scope is very important. Okay, so we are enabling the script since we can use the same script, and if you want to, we can hide these all scripts. Now what we have to do it is the email ID, and oh my god, I think we did a mistake here. The user is here, right? The user email ID, current dot email ID. This has to done. I'm sorry, guys. Just give a minute. Email. Yes, right click email, right? So this here we have done a some mistake. Email here, right? Not current dot user dot email ID. Current dot email ID. Next phone number is we can write the mobile underscore phone number. For that phone underscore number, action not authorized. Okay, I think we are in a different scope. So that is in the global scope, but we are not in the global scope. Go back. So now it was see that the scope is one. We done it. Now, so we will write a client script. So I'm just going to write a client script. Just reload. So now what we have to do it is we need to set the value. So what are the value, how we can set it? So g underscore form dot set value, set value of what are the value we have to do it, email ID, right? So u underscore email ID, this field we need to do, right? Equal to, so what are we are define this one, right? We can copy the same thing. So this one and same thing. If you want g underscore form dot So the phone number, right? Email him. G underscore SCRATCHPAD underscore. So what are the variable names? So we can write the same thing what you have defined here. G underscore scratchpad dot. Oh my god, action not authorized. This is global. I think client script is not in the global. Okay, we'll write a new script here. That is a scope issue. So now what happened? User details to display. But I think this is scope issue thing, business rules. Okay. So we'll change the business rule scope issue. So this business rule we are trying to write it in work order. So what I'm going to do it is, this is the scope issue. So now what I'm going to do it is, I'm just going to reload this and creating this business rule in the work order scope. See, this is user details. So iPhone work order. Now what I'm going to do it is, so I'm just going to save the scope, and now in that client script, now we can write the same thing here. Since this is not in the client side, so onload validation. See, whenever if you're writing something, we need to check the scope also. So whatever we have written, so it doesn't save it. If there is no scopes, we cannot do. See right where this is the happen whenever if you write a script. Now g underscore form dot set value, set value of. So what are the field we have? User ID. The thing was what is the one we have written. So g underscore scratchpad dot email. Next one g underscore form dot set value of equal to. So what are we have written here? We can scratchpad dot phone number and let's see how it will execute. So this is the one of the interview question. What is a G underscore scratchpad variable in the service now? G underscore scratchpad is nothing but a is a global variable which is used to get the information, pass the information from the client to the server to the client. Now, so if I reload, let's see what happens. See, undefined. Okay. So what is the email ID? This let's check it. It is getting as undefined. 1 minute. Let define. It's getting as undefined, but it's supposed to get as a email. So email is fine. Okay, let me check. I think the state value we can define another state. Okay, undefined was coming. Okay, let me. If you want to one, well, that's okay. We can debug it. How we can do it. So I'm just making alert, alert. So let's see what was the value it is coming. So it was getting as undefined. So that means the value what I give. Let me check the script what we return. Here g underscore from dot getting one. So I think this alert ruined it. This also fine. We return the same thing. If we reload, 1 minute. I'm just checking. I think it is some scope issue. I believe. Whenever if you're writing something, if you are getting, but it has to done. Earlier I used to done the same thing in one. That's fine. So I'm just opening this one. Let's getting user dot email ID scratch dot whether the field name is correct and scratch pad SCRATCH. Let me check whether we can check whether we have the correct field or not. Scratch pad G underscore SCRATCH scratch pad dot email that is also fine. So set value is fine. Then it's supposed to come. Okay, we have given not current dot email ID. Current dot this one right. So this field right current dot user dot email ID. I'm sorry, we given a small mistake. Current dot user email ID. Right? Current dot email ID will not come. So what we have to do it is user dot email ID, phone number. So current dot email ID, current dot phone number we have given. Okay, let's see. Let's open work order. See, now it was coming right. And also this Andrew was there is no phone number. That's the reason it was giving as undefined. So if you given some phone number here, for example, it was empty, right? It's supposed to be empty, but since the value is written, it was coming as a undefined. So always we can check it, the one if you fill was a value. So I'm just trying to fill this value. So the phone number and update. What happened? That is his phone number. Yes, correct, correct. So field name we have to give. Yes, correct. Thank you. See, right, both are saying the same name, so we have a little bit confused on this. Now, if I go back, but also I don't think it will save. It doesn't save until you click on the save button. Now you got it right. How to do this all stuff? How we can call as variable from the client side to server side to client side. The is g underscore scratchpad. This is the display business rule for the same thing. I hope it clear or any confusion. See, so clear, right, Uday and Kiran? Good. Now, the next step is what we have to do it is here. Whenever we are writing a business rule, for example, for example, if I change this to after or before, for example, before, after I've just figured out. Here we know it, right? Insert and update. Whenever the insert record is inserted, what has to done? Whenever the update is true, whenever the record is updated, what has to done? Delete is nothing but whenever the record is deleted, what has to done? Those are all we configure. Now, the thing was what we have to do it is, so now what we have to do it is, whenever the thing is nothing but here whatever thing. So the delete is nothing, query is nothing but whenever this table is query, what has to execute it? You don't understood, right? I believe you are not understood, right? Say yes. No, no. That means whenever if this record table is queried, okay, simple. So for the ITL users, what is the how many instances coming? For example, if I impersonate the user, Ford Lodi, who is the ITL user. So I'm just impersonating a Ford Lodi. And what happens here? Here, almost all the modules is visible, right? Many modules, since he has some additional role. So now, is there no incident role for this one? Okay, so if I open incidents, so total how many incidents is visible to him? All the incidents is visible. See, right? This is the one, right? Now, what we have to do it is, if I impersonating as an end user, so who is for example, if I impersonate the ability tutor, and let's see what happens. So I don't know whether Abel has all the roles or not. See, right, if I go to the incidents, how many incidents is visible to him? Only 20, right? That is also caller is able tutor, then only those are visible. If I click on here also, only 20, but for our list how many incidents was there? More than 20, right? That means if I open this one, since e is in the collar, so it was visible, right? Or else it doesn't visible to the user for the same thing here. Now what we have to do it here is, whenever if something is, see, right, how it was possible, this guy doesn't have a ACL role for that to read the incidents, but still it was showing as a what are the incidents where caller is a able tutor, so able tutor can able to see all those incidents. How this can achievable? Because here whenever the table is query is nothing, that is the same thing. Whenever if you are seeing a records in the table, that means we are querying the table. At the time we need to check that query operation and what was we have written here. So for this one here, and also if I see these business rules of here, let me reload this page, still it is in not yet. Configure and security, no security, business rules. So business rules on incidents, incident query. So there is a one out of the box business rule. From here, we can go for the same thing here. See here, if the one query and queried here is true and actions no at the advanced. So here, whatever we have written, if the user has a doesn't have a role ITL or SN score read, then we will treat him as a then we will treat him as a uh, end user. And now what we have to do it is here at current dot add core is nothing but currently we are in the incident table where caller id is equal to the logged user, or opened id is a logged user, or user is a part of the watch list. What is the add query? Add query is used to fetch the information from the here. That's the one thing. And whenever whenever if you have something saying here, what we have to do, whenever if you are here, so whenever if you are logging here, so the thing was if the user is a part of a caller it can be visible, or else if the user is followed by the open byte will visible, and if the logged user is will be part of the watch list, so that what happens, those records only will be visible to the logged user if the user doesn't have any ITL role or admin role or any other thing. So sorry, as a SN underscore into incident underscore read role. So that's the thing how we will do for the same here. I hope we clear on this one. What is a query business rule? Query business rule is used to what we have to do it is we have to do for a same thing here. Query business rule is used to uh, get the query the table, it has to be executed the same thing. This is the out of the box. Whenever we want to restrict some thing, for that we will use the query business rule for the same thing for it. I hope it clear what is the query business rule, what is the async business rule, what is the display business rule. The query business rule is used to whenever the table is queried, so what was the record has to display. So there is a difference between ACLs and query. If you write a ACLs, what happens, it is showing as a security constraint something like, but if you write a query based rule it doesn't show any other things. So the best practice always use the query business rule instead of ACLs, so that it will apply, but very limited conditions. If you want to restrict a few users, we can use the query business tool. If you want to all the one control, you can use the access control list. This is the most common asked interview question. Please note down. So you clear what is the after business rule? Oh, sorry, what is the async business rule? What is the display business rule? And what is the query operation in the business rules? How it will execute? Any questions on this till now? What your discussion? Okay. So kindly note down the task for today. So create a two custom fields. on the table which you already created a custom table. So one those are check boxes. Once the record has inserted close to change, and those two has to go to the false condition. And what are the incidents, what are the things? For example, if it's a work order, so what we have to do it is, for a work order we have a work order task was there. So once that is done, after 5 to 5 minutes, what are the task associated with it, it has to close automatically here. So, for example, there is a two task one. If the state is changed to closed, and after to the 5 minutes, this work order task has to change to the closed state. That's a scenario for this one, for the async business rule. And display business rule. You can copy all the things, and you can show it as a message in the below the image. Email ID is something XYZ, something like, you can show it a message. And for this work order, what are the records which was assigned to and opened by should be displayed to the test display to the ESS user, end user. This is the three tasks you have to perform it. I hope you clear about the task or any confusion. Yes, no. So the first one, async business rule. So create two custom fields which are check boxes. Okay. So in those two checkboxes, once the state is changed to close for this work order, so you can create a two associated task for the work order. Okay. So once that is done, after 5 minutes, these two has to close automatically. That's the first task. Second task, display. So here what happened? We are displaying email ID, phone number, right? So what you will do here in that below, you can show it as a email ID, phone number as a message. Ah, yes. Well, that's a film. That's the second one. And third one, query business tool. Whenever if the buyer agree is logged it, he can able to see what are the work orders opened by him, and what are the where he is the user is the same thing. So that's the scenario you have to do for the same thing here. Any questions on this? Okay. So that's a scenario for the here. Now the next is, these are the three things one, and any questions on the previous topics, the previous classes. We have another 15 minutes, 16 minutes. What was the task you said? What was the task you tried, brother?